Hi folks, welcome to today's color process video where I'm back to normal after the last two videos where I kind of deleted my recordings, so I had to fill in with something else. Also, I apologize ahead of time if I seem somewhat distracted because I have some delicious macaroons in front of me with some mocha. So yeah, um, excuse me. Hopefully, you won't have too many disgusting mouth sounds as I eat and drink away here, as I relax while I talk to you. Anywho, let's eat that little chunk and get down to business here, shall we? Mm, 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 mm. Yes, so today's comic. Yeah, so I'm sure the first thing you notice when you look at this is it is very blue. Very, very blue. Aside from the captions and the some elements of the seagull. I was intending with this comic of maybe varying things up a bit and giving the sky a different color, like maybe making it kind of like a nice pink or kind of like a greenish, purplish kind of color. But yeah, as the piece went on, just the blue felt right. It felt very peaceful, which is exactly what I was going for with the feel of this comic. And this is one of those cases where, because there was very little in the way of line art, the colors here do a good chunk of the grunt work, especially the middle panel, the fourth panel with the vast expanse of sea, the sky, the clouds. Like, I mean, if you look at the original line art, there's actually not all that much in the way of actual drawn art on there. And the same can be said of the rest of the comic. And with that middle panel, that was kind of the linchpin for me. That was kind of the one that made me decide that I would go with the blue color, the blue color scheme for the overall page. Um, just it looked right to me. It just felt right, so I decided to go with my gut and stick with that. One thing, however, I think I may have messed up on though is me adding the reflections of the clouds in the water. It's a nice enough looking effect, and it gives a nice kind of stillness to the water. But I I mean, this is just my personal experience, but I don't think I've ever seen the sea actually reflect clouds like that, no matter how still it is. Where it's almost like the way I've rendered it here, it's almost like the sea has a mirror surface. It's so reflective. And that would be fine if this was a lake or something along the lines of that. If I had like some land in the background to give the impression of it being a lake, that could have worked better. But yeah, I think I kind of messed up in that regard. Now, it still looks nice in its own way and gets across the feeling of being alone and being at peace with being alone, maybe. But it's one element I would definitely go back and, if not take out, at the very least edit within an inch of its life so that it looks better. Um, but hey, that's just a part of the process. If I didn't notice things like that, little things that I want to change, then I've given up as an artist. I mean, one part of being an artist is looking back at older work, even if it's something you've just done, and realizing you may have made a mistake and like keeping a note of that and keeping it in mind for future reference. But despite that, overall, very I'm very pleased with how this comic turned out. Just it was one of those cases where I very much felt confident in not drawing much, which is actually quite a nice feeling when drawing comics. Like, I'm sure if any of you do any kind of drawing or art, you may have suffered in the past, you maybe suffer it now, but there's that feeling that you need to absolutely fill every panel full of detail. And excuse me, that can be crippling in a way. And it can ruin your art when you put in stuff that doesn't need to be there. So it felt kind of freeing to me knowing that I could sit down and with confidence draw a comic where I knew what not to draw. I mean, if I had have drawn this comic in the past, the middle panel especially, the fourth panel, I would have felt the need to fill that sea with detail and add lots of hatching and whatnot to the panel. And yeah, I didn't really need to, and I knew that, and I went with that. And I suppose growing as an artist is having the confidence to make decisions like that. It's a nice feeling when you realize that. Like, for the most part, I'm not conscious of it, but this comic in particular, I was very conscious of that, and yeah, it made me feel it made me feel happy about where my art is at the moment and where I am as an artist. That and this is this is the Irish Catholic guilt, as they say, coming out now. What I'm about to say, but uh, I apologize if I sound really full of myself when I'm kind of talking up myself like that. For those of you who are American, maybe you don't understand that feeling. I don't know. I always get the impression that Americans are are quite confident and able to speak up for themselves and get their opinions and whatnot out there, and uh, talk themselves up, promote themselves. And in my case, I yeah, when it comes to talking myself up or promoting myself, there's always that part of me that wants to apologize for doing so. So right now, I'm going to apologize for apologizing. And yeah, I've talked for long enough, so I will leave it at that. I will eat the rest of this delicious macaroon and drink this mocha, and I will talk to you at the next video. All right, so take care.